In section 1.4, we're continuing to work on integers, but this time with multiplication and division. Most important part about multiplying integers and dividing integers is knowing what sign to use. It's not quite the same as addition and subtraction. Here I have listed a way you can remember what to do with the sign. So over here on the left, I have multiplication hints. When we multiply a negative times a positive, we get a negative answer. Doesn't matter the order, always a negative times a positive is a negative. Two negative integers multiplied together actually give a positive number, almost like two wrongs make a right. For division, same thing, one negative and one positive will produce a negative answer. Notice how these first two, it really doesn't matter if the negative's on top or on the bottom. Just like it didn't matter back here if the negative was on the left or the right. Just one of each gives you a negative answer. And again, similar to multiplication, two negatives make a positive. Dividing a negative by a negative gives you a positive number. Here's lots of examples just to practice this process. So the first one says 7 times negative 9. Well, I know that 7 times 9 is 63. Since I have a positive times a negative, the answer will be negative. The next one looks almost too simple. It's just two positive integers. If they're both positive, then it stays positive. 8 times 7 is 56. Negative 5 times negative 6. I know multiplication fact says that 5 times 6 is 30. And these two negatives cancel each other out. A negative times a negative is a positive. Finally, on this last one, the negative comes first, but it doesn't matter. A negative times a positive will produce a negative number, and 4 times 12 is 48. Moving over here to the division, the same thing is true. This bar that you see here, this division is a division bar. So fraction and division are the same things. We take the top number divided by the bottom number. So here in the first one, 8 divided by negative 2, that's 4. But because one of the numbers are negative, I'm going to make it a negative answer. The next one is 10 over negative 5, or 10 divided by negative 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2, but since one of them is negative, the answer is negative. Negative 12 divided by negative 4, I know that 12 divided by 4 is 3, and since I have a negative on the top and the bottom, they cancel, and I get a positive 3 answer. The last two examples are special ones. They have zeros in them. Here we have 0 divided by negative 6. When 0 is on the top of any fraction, the answer is going to be 0. It doesn't matter that it's negative or positive number on the bottom, the answer is always 0. In the last one, it's a special case. 0 is in the denominator. This is not good. In fact, we're not allowed to do this. We say that this is undefined or doesn't exist. There's no answer here. If you type this into a calculator, you'll find that you get an error message. So 0 in the denominator is undefined. We'll practice putting together some of the things we've talked about so far in this class, like order of operations. This time, however, we'll have positive and negative numbers included. In the first one, order of operations says that I need to do multiplication before addition and subtraction. There are 3 sets of multiplication in this problem. Right here, here, and here. I'm going to do those first and then go through and do the addition subtraction. So first, negative 4 times negative 3 is 12. There's a minus sign in between. 7 times negative 8 is negative 56. I'm going to use parentheses here just to keep those negatives separate. And last, 3 times negative 9 is negative 27. Again, I'm going to use parentheses just to keep the negatives separate. When we see two negatives together like this, they cancel each other out. I'm going to turn those into pluses and move from left to right. like order of operations prescribes. 12 plus 56 is 68. And finally, to finish this up, I'm going to go ahead and subtract these two since I'm adding a positive integer and a negative integer, and then use the sign of the larger one. I'll have 41. 68 is the highest of the two numbers, and it's positive, so my answer is positive. The next example has a fraction. We discussed earlier that a fraction is like parentheses in order of operations. The numerator is a set of parentheses, and the denominator is a set of parentheses. So I'm going to have to work with the numerator first. There's more things there to do. My eyes are going directly to this part here because it's multiplication. It has higher precedence than the subtraction symbol you see in between. So I'm going to write negative 8 minus 4 times 5, or 20. In the last screencast, we talked about subtracting integers. And the strategy that I suggested is to add a negative. So here, when we subtract 20, it's just like adding a negative 20. There are two negative numbers to be added together. So I'll total those up. In total, that's 28, but it's 28 on the negative side. To finish, I'm going to divide negative 28 by 4 to get 7. Those negatives cancel, so now it's positive. Let's try some evaluating algebraic expressions, where I'm going to give you variable information and you're going to substitute it in. So everywhere I see an x in this problem, I'm going to replace it with a 5, and everywhere I see a y, I'll replace it with a negative 9. Order of operations says to do the multiplication first. So I'll multiply 3 times 15 and add that to the result of 2 times negative 9. Here I'm adding a positive and a negative, so I'll subtract and use the sign of the larger number. So it's negative 3. If you weren't writing anything down before, go ahead and take out a sheet of paper and try this next problem. Stop the video, try it yourself, and then as soon as you're ready, go ahead and push play so you can watch the result. Okay, let's see how you did. A was 4, B was negative 3. Order of operations says to do the multiplication first. So I'll have negative 8 plus a negative 27. Those are both negative, so I'll go ahead and combine those together to be negative 35. All right, let's try another one. Do the same thing. Stop the video, try this one, and then start it up again when you're ready. Okay, in the numerator, x is negative 6, y is 5, and the denominator is 4. I'm going to go directly to the numerator since there's an unassumed parentheses up here. In the numerator, there's also some multiplication that needs to be taken care of first. So I'll do negative 6 minus 2 times 5, or 10. That subtraction symbol would be more convenient to add a negative, so I'm going to make that plus a negative 10. Negative 6 plus negative 10 is negative 16. And to finish this, I need to divide negative 16 divided by 4. That's negative 4. All right.